There are a lot of episodes of Doctor Who that fans consider to be badly made, but I often find that the worst of these, and the one most worthy of the scorn, is Let's Kill Hitler. Today I will be breaking down exactly what I don't like about this episode, and why in particular this is the episode that I feel demonstrates the downward trend while what series was on, and why in particular it also shows why people start to groan instead of cheer whenever they saw an episode with Moffat's name on the writing credit. So less than 2 minutes into this episode and there's already a major problem. The implication that husbands have to give permission for their wives to hug somebody is either awful comedy or really bad character work. It's a really uncomfortable moment, and I could overlook it if the rest of the episode resembled anything close to quality. The most infuriating part of this scene is the record amount of time it takes to set Mel up as an unlikable character. Yet again, the series is desperate for a quotable, gifable figure, but in the process forgets to add any character. But the bad stuff doesn't stop there, as straight after the titles we are shown the characters' past to compensate for Moffat's lack of foresight and planning from the 11th hour onwards. While this is not the biggest problem with this scene, I have to state my huge dislike of the child acting. It just shows us how the writer and director have little to no understanding of how children behave. I could look past that if this segment of the episode gives us any form of insight into Melody as a person, but it doesn't, and somehow manages to make her even more unlikable as a person, who speaks out with the intention to aggravate. This opening gives us exactly what to expect for the remainder of the episode: needless setup with no conclusion and aggravating characters. Speaking of which, there is nothing to say about the characters in this episode. I would normally praise Matt Smith's performance. While there isn't anything wrong with his performance in this episode, all he is given to do is act pretentious and then scream every 5 minutes. And as for River, when she's given a mature and intellectual iteration of a character, she is at her best, like in Silence in the Library. But in this episode, when she is at her youngest and most pretentious, she is at her absolute worst. Regarding the plot of this episode, I cannot even begin to talk about how needlessly convoluted and obnoxious it is. Each aspect of the Series 6's horribly put together arc is the focus of this godforsaken episode. The basic idea of a long-stretching murder mystery conducted by an assassin who wants to kill the Doctor could have been interesting if they had built up tension and mystery over the series rather than more and more vague ideas. Then maybe we could have had something really interesting. However, what Moffat fails to do is let the arc develop, as this episode is injecting more and more of his famous trope, "I knew something you didn't," for like 10 minutes. Moffat previously stated that the BBC asked him for a mid-series break, meaning he wanted a big spectacle tying into the arc for this point in the series, in which it returned. But really, imagine an episode involving a rogue time traveller who was Amy's friend since childhood, as a standalone episode, or maybe even a dying Time Lord who regenerated into a child and set themselves up in the Doctor's life so they can get to a point in history with the intention of finding him and taking us to a time period in which he can cause havoc. These ideas are a bit messy, I agree, but if they'd given some time to develop them, then who knows what could have happened. I know it wouldn't be the best ever, it probably would have been very ambitious, but with a series which is already ambitious enough to have such a complex arc, it would be 100 times better than an overindulgent, pretentious, overly complicated, convoluted mess, which I will never be able to understand how it managed to get in front of the camera. I often think that the reason people groaned instead of cheered when they saw Moffat's name in a writing credit is because it's basically homework. Arcs became more hard to keep up with. You had to keep notes and focus harder, rather than just watch them develop like a nice mystery. And so whenever they saw the name Moffat, written by Stephen Moffat, it often led to people groaning, as it meant that, I've got to take more and more notes in this episode. I apologise for the recording quality and my constant stuttering, but this is my first recording script anyway, and I'm doing this on very basic editing material. I hope to do more of these as I find them so fun, and I hope that you manage to understand my opinion regarding this episode. Anyway, see you all next time.